One of the things that has struck me in my research on this phenomenon, and I think is also true for other people who've looked into it, is that people who have this experience, almost regardless of their initial point of view, if they were religious or if they were not religious, if they were spiritual or not spiritual, if they were atheistic or not, they come to have almost a similar point of view along the lines of the perennial philosophy. They describe themselves as much more spiritual people, not necessarily more religious, and they make such statements as, I feel as if I would be at home in any church, or all religions have truth. There are a lot of pronouncements that if people were made by near-death experiencers, which if they were familiar with the idea of a perennial philosophy, they would have no difficulty in endorsing. I think this is a very beautiful aspect of the experience, too, because it suggests that once you have this kind of awakening, whether through a near-death experience or in some other way, then you come to a point not only of this kind of realization, but you have a sense of tolerance and appreciation for the diversity of religious or spiritual worldviews, but you see it within this sort of overarching framework of the perennial philosophy or the universality of a spiritual framework.
You've even documented, as I recall, cases of people who were adamantly atheistic,
yes,
who then have the near-death experience. And how do they integrate it?
Well, the people that I've talked with who have described themselves as skeptics, as agnostics, or as atheists often have difficulty using religious terms afterward, but they know what they've experienced, and the term, which is almost a code word in a certain sense for this, is the light. They don't have any difficulty talking about the light, but they might have difficulty talking about God or more obviously religious terms. But if you look at the way they describe the experience, and if you look at the kinds of changes they report in their life, and their opening to spiritual worldviews, you can see that their previous skepticism or agnosticism or even atheism has been eroded to such an extent that it virtually dissolves, and they become very spiritually oriented people too.